Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for taking out time for joining us today. We are going to have a very crisp session today where we would be focusing on CISA exam success. So we will not go much into detail what is CISA about, how does it help us in our career progression. That would be a talk of some other day. Today we will focus only and only on the exam strategies. So today's focus is ensuring CISA success. So here we are going to look into some exam strategies and practice questions. Our agenda today is to understand the CISA exam structure and domains, then effective CISA exam preparation strategies, tackling the CISA questions, how to identify the correct answers while taking that exam, and preparation tips. Now the CISA exam structure. CISA, as you know, stands for Certified Information Systems Auditor certification. So this is one of the most coveted designation a professional can have. Now for this exam, the syllabus and exam is actually covered in 5 domains. Each domain is covered in each chapter. So there are 5 domains covered in 5 chapters. The exam will have a total of 150 multiple choice questions. The time allocation would be 4 hours, which means you get on an average 90 seconds, 1.5 minute per question. Now, it may appear that this time is too less. Actually, it is not, because there would be many questions which you will be able to do within just 20 to 30 seconds. And that will give you the time to tackle those questions where you might be requiring more than 2 minutes also. So this is just the average, a simple mathematical calculated average. 4 hours divided by 150 gives you 1.5 minutes per question on an average. Now the domains on which we have to gain knowledge and we will be assessed are domain 1, which is information system auditing process. It carries a weightage of 18% in the exam, which means 27 questions out of 150. Then domain 2 is governance and management of IT, which carries again a weightage of 18%, which means another 27 questions from this domain. Then we have got domain 3, which is the information systems acquisition, development, and implementation, carrying a weightage of 12%, which is 18 questions. Domain 4 is information systems operations and business resilience. Business resilience basically talks about capability for business continuity and disaster recovery. So this carries 26% weightage, which means 39 questions would be here. And then domain 5, which is the protection of information assets. So this also carries 26% weightage with 39 questions. So when we are looking at the protection of information assets, the focus is on preserving confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information assets. So basically information security. So now if you look at the distribution of the weightage, you will find that out of 150 questions, a big chunk is from these 2 domains, 78 questions, which is more than 50%. But all said and done, every single domain is important from the preparation point of view. And in the domains which are having low weightage, you might be getting more easy questions also. Not a guarantee, but there is a high probability of that. And when Once you pass your exam, you will get a detailed assessment which would be domain wise, which will be help you in guiding where all you have enough knowledge and where all you need to brush up your knowledge and skills further as an auditor, in which area you need to work upon. Now, these 150 questions are actually of different levels. So there are some easy questions, there are some moderate questions, there are some difficult questions, and there are some expert level questions. And based on these levels, different questions will be carrying different weightage. And because of this reason, the moment we answer all the questions, a raw score is generated, which we do not get to know what is our raw score. But the system is a raw score gets generated, and with the use of an algorithm, this raw score will be converted to a scaled score. And that scale is 200 to 800. Now, on this scale, we need to get minimum 450 marks. So 450 or above qualifies us to apply to ISACA to become a registered CISA. So passing the exam is the first step. Second would be submitting an application to ISACA and get yourself registered as a CISA, for which you need a minimum of 5 years experience. Please note that there is no negative marking, which means all of us should ensure that we attempt 100%. We have got nothing to lose. Even if we are not sure about a particular question, let us take a guess and move on. Because if you leave the question unanswered, you don't get anything. If you still answer it, out of four options, you still have a 25% probability of getting right answer. So don't lose on that. Please attempt 100%. So now let us discuss about the strategies. So when you decide that you want to go for CISA exam, please allocate at least 50 to 80 hours for preparation only. And these 50 to 80 hours of preparation does not include your training hours. Training is for 40 hours. So post training, you need to allocate these many hours. Now, some people will take leave and go for preparation. Other people will choose maybe weekends or some hours every day. Now, whatever you may choose, depending on your professional commitments, personal commitments, whether you go for a straight 10 to 15 days preparation covering this 50 to 80 hours, or you every weekend you take 2 to 4 hours every Saturday, every Sunday, and then go for a month or so preparation, or you take just 1 hour every day and then continue your preparation, please remember this much effort is very much required. Just after taking a training, if you are going to attempt, that may not be a good idea at all. You need to practice. So please do allocate this time for your preparation. Now, the syllabus is given in CRM 28th edition. CRM stands for CISA Review Manual. So this is the latest edition which covers the syllabus for your CISA exam. So this is a book which is about number of pages are 600 pages approximately, covering all the 5 chapters. So what we strongly recommend is that you read the CRM at least once. It will act like a textbook for you, and you will get a fair idea what all topics are covered for the exam purpose. Now, another good thing about this review manual is each chapter has a case study at the end of the chapter. And that case study is followed by few questions, maybe 4 questions, 5 questions, 10 questions. That may vary. But these questions have detailed answers. When I say detailed answers, there is a justification given in the CRM itself. And this justification is for each option, which means even if you have got the answer wrong, you will get a justification why that answer is wrong. So as a part of our preparation strategy, we must practice these case studies of each chapter and compare our answers with the answers given in the book with justification, so that even if we are not able to get the right answer, we would know that why our choice has been a wrong choice. That justification is available there. After you have done so, this is the first thing to do, which includes doing the case studies. And then the second thing is to pick up the practice questions from ISACA's official Q&A and a practice book, which carries approximately 1,000 questions. So when I say 50 to 80 hours, this is where you are going to spend most of the time practicing these questions. Some time allocated to read the CRM and then practicing the questions. And while practicing the questions, if you get any question wrong, go back to CRM, go to a particular topic and check where was the gap. Now the $1 million question, how to identify the correct answer. So here our strategy should be that we learn the process of elimination. Now each question will have 4 options. We need to start with identifying obviously wrong answers and then eliminate those answers. So if you are looking at 4 options, your probability of right answer is 25%. But if you are able to eliminate 2 options, then the probability would be 50%. So that is why we strongly promote this process of elimination. You increase your probability of getting the right answer. And when you are able to eliminate 3 options, then you have got 100% correct answer for that particular question. So you need to understand this process of elimination and you need to practice this process of elimination for practicing each and every question. So now how to do that? Easier said than done. So to learn the process of elimination, where do we start? We start by practicing reading the question in a slow reading manner. We use this slow reading technique. You know, just like a small child who's starting school, learning alphabets, learning words, learning sentences. So we read slow, means we read one word at a time. So instead of read the question using slow reading technique, read one word at a time, we go like this. Read the question using slow reading technique. Read one word at a time. This is the most important strategy that you have to start learning and implementing. Now, when you do this, how is it going to help you? You will be able to identify keywords or the key phrases, and also you will be able to identify the key ask of the question. Now, instead of reading the entire question, if you have got keywords to refer to, you will read your options and refer to only these keywords. That will help you focus in identifying which option is wrong, which is obviously wrong, which can be wrong, which can be eliminated. And then another precaution is, do not read all the options at one go. The moment we read option A, the moment we read option B, then C, then D, what happens? It leads to confusion. All options may appear valid, and that is where we will get into the state of confusion, and despite knowing the right answer, we may end up choosing the wrong answer. So this is another aspect that we need to be very, very careful about. Please make a practice. Do not read all the options at one go. So how do we go about it? The way we have been reading slowly, one word at a time, identifying the keywords, phrases, and key ask of the question. We will start with reading the first option. After reading this option, we will compare it with the identified keywords and the phrases and the key ask. And before we move on to the second option, we will take a decision whether this option needs to be eliminated or shall we consider it as a possible answer. Without doing this decision, without taking this decision for option A, you shall never go to option B. And then you take the same decision for option B, then only you go to option C. Then you take the same decision for option C, and then only you go to option D. So you follow the same practice for each option. So A, done, then only go to B. Done, then only go to C. Done, and then only go to D. In this manner, you will be able to eliminate the options. In most of the cases, you will end up eliminating 3 out of 4 options, leaving only the best option available to you. In some cases, you may get 2 possible answers. And in that case, you go back to the questions, look at the keywords again, and then weigh in your mind out of these two which seems to be more appropriate. And that will be your correct answer. So now let us jump to an example for understanding the implementation of this answering strategy. So on your screen, you have a question Read slow, read one word at a time, identify keywords, key ask, and follow the same for options one by one. Take a decision on A, then only move to B. Take a decision on B, then only move to C. Take a decision on C, then only move to D. Now, in the exam, we get less than 2 minutes. Now, in this question, if you look at when you read it in a slow manner with one word at a time, the question was which of the following is most important to ensure before communicating the audit findings to top management during the closing meeting. So, this most important is the key ask of the question. So, our answer needs to focus on this. Plus, what are the keywords? One is before communicating audit findings to the top management. So, before we go to the top management with our audit findings, what is the most important we as an auditor need to ensure? Now, when you look at option one, the keyword in the option one is risk statement and explanation of a business impact of that risk. Keyword in the option B is findings tracked back to evidence. Keywords in the option C are recommendations addressing the root causes of findings. Then the keywords in the option D are remediation plans to be provided. Now, when we look at each of the options, we will be able to mark option 1, we eliminate. Option 2 will be our possible answer. Option 3, we eliminate. Option 4, we eliminate. In the next slide, I will explain you why we eliminate option A, why we have B as a possible answer, and why we eliminate C and why do we eliminate D. But before I go and give my own explanation, I will give you another 2 minutes to find out yourself the justifications for eliminating and for keeping the possible answers. Why A is to be eliminated, why B should be a possible answer, why C is to be eliminated, and why D needs to be a option which needs to be eliminated. Okay, so now let me give you the justifications for this. The key ask of the question was most important. Keywords were before communicating audit findings to the top management. Option 1 was risk statement includes an explanation of a business impact. So, as an auditor, when we are submitting our findings, we do tell what this finding is leading to, what risk can be there. But why do we eliminate it? Because before giving a risk statement, before highlighting a risk, we need to ensure that our finding is accurate. Accuracy of our finding needs to be eliminated. So, risk statement will not be the most important thing. Accuracy will have more importance. So then when we look at option B, findings are clearly, keyword is findings, clearly tracked back to the evidence. Now this is a possible answer because findings need to be accurate before they get reported to the top management. Hence, it's a possible answer. First one got eliminated. Now, option C is recommendations addressing the root causes of the findings. Again, we eliminate because root cause will be valid only if the finding is accurate. If the finding is not accurate, then finding a root cause will be a futile activity. So that will happen at a later stage. First, the finding needs to be accurate. Now, the option D, remediation plans, how to mitigate the risk which has arisen because of this finding. So these remediation plans are provided by responsible parties, HODs, process owners, etc. Again, we eliminate. Why? Because remediation plans will be relevant only if the findings are accurate. So now in this situation, we have been able to eliminate three options, leaving only one option, which is a possible answer. And hence, answer would be option B, the only option left after elimination. Now to understand this further, we will take one more such example. So again on your screen, you find a question. Please follow the same process. Read one word at a time. Identify keywords, key phrases, identify key ask. Read option A, compare it with the keywords in the question, compare it with the key ask in the question by identifying the keywords and phrases in the option A. Take a decision whether it is going to be a possible answer or it is the answer to be eliminated. After taking that decision, move on to option B, follow the same process, move on to option C, follow the same process, move on to option D and follow the same process. And then you should be in a position to identify the correct option. Okay, so now when we look into this question, we identify the keyword is auditor does not have competency for that particular solution. And the key ask of the question is best course of action. If you will focus on these two, you will be able to identify the right answer. So option A, the keyword is attend a course before conducting the audit. Option B is hire an independent expert. Option C is about refuse to conduct the audit. Option D is about conduct audit without going into specific controls. So when we look into these, how do we rate each option? Option A will turn out to be a possible answer because there is a lack of competency and attending a course before conducting the audit may give the competency. So it's a possible answer. Hire an independent expert again is a way of getting the competency. So a possible answer. but refuse to conduct the audit will get eliminated. And then to conduct an audit without going into specific controls will also get eliminated. Now, I have given you justification for the possible answers. Please think about it, make your own notes on option C and option D. Option A and B are possible answers because both will be able to overcome this situation of not being having the competency at this stage. Okay, so when we are looking at option A, which we marked as a possible answer, the justification is attending a course might be time consuming, it can lead to the competency, it would be an expensive option, and there is a doubt that it still may not provide the required competency, even though it is a possible answer. Hiring an independent expert, it's again a possible answer because information systems audit standards do permit the use of other experts to fill a competency gap. So now if you compare A with B, A option could be time consuming, A option could be more expensive. It still may not provide the required competency. On the other hand, having an expert who's competent, which is permissible as per the audit standards, is definitely a better option than A. So between A and B, we will zero in on B. So which means at this stage, we can eliminate A after comparing the two possible answers. Now, refuse to conduct an audit. Refusing to conduct an audit is not the best course of action. You have a mandate to conduct the audit, and the audit is going to help the organization. So, refusing to conduct an audit is not the best course of action. Better to have a competency through a hired expert. Conduct an audit without going into specific controls is against the ethics of audits because you may not be able to meet the audit objectives if you are not going into specific controls. So in this scenario, the best option out of the two possible answers, A and B, is option B. And hence we choose that option as a right answer. So to reiterate what I said, how to identify the correct answers, please learn the process of elimination. Each question will have four options. Identify obviously wrong answers, eliminate them. Learn to read the question using slow reading technique. That means read one word at a time. Identify the keywords, key phrases, and do identify the key ask of the question. Please do not read all the options at one go. Read first option, compare with identified keywords and phrases and keywords, and then decide whether it needs to be eliminated or to be considered as a possible answer. Follow the same practice for each option and then select your answer.